listening to the Dreaming of Freedom podcast on the 2 Cents FC network.
All right, welcome back to the Dreaming of Freedom podcast, where we talk about all things black soccer in MLS. I'm Jermaine.
I'm Callie.
And I'm AD.
And we are members of Black Herons United, an independent black supporters group for Inter Miami and all things black soccer in South Florida.
For episode 25, we'll discuss how the players and supporters of Inter Miami recently took some serious L's. Matchday 34's dream team, and for footnotes, we'll give our flowers to a very special MLS referee who recently made history. So stay tuned to catch it all.
All right, y'all. We are back like a pack of woods. And AD, speaking of trees, bruh, what is going on with Portland? Why they being so petty? Or is this something that we should be blaming Miami Heat on? What's going on, bro? How you doing?
Okay. You put me into another mode. So I just gotta get into
right
it
now.
All right. So I'm feeling like it's on both sides. I think teams are getting really tired of the arrogance and bravado of Pat Riley. So when he pulls his power moves and he says, "This is my little offer, and I'm not making any moves till you show me something better from someone else," and they don't like those power moves being pulled on them, and they don't want. They've been seeing like this narrative of, oh, Miami's so great at pulling somebody up from the dirt and making them a star. La la la. Look at Gabe Vincent. Look at Max Strus. They're like, all right, I don't need to now give you Damian Lillard to make you even nicer or what.
That's interesting.
And who cares about like doing right by Dame? Like, I'm gonna do what's best for my organization. So I'm gonna just get whatever trade is not Miami, and that's what they did.
Bruh, I still think it's petty as hell. Thank you for that analysis, AD. Callie, welcome back. Glad to have you back, bro.
Happy to be back.
I know you're well rested. I know you're trying to burn everything down. So if you want to throw in the Miami Heat in there, go ahead. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. Incredibly sleep deprived, but I'm here. With the Heat thing, I think it's a combination of a couple things. One, I think first and foremost, and probably most importantly, I think Portland knew that Dame wanted to go to Miami, and they did everything they could to make sure that did not happen. They just did not want Dame to go where he wanted to go. So I think there was a bit of petulance on that end. Now, I think Pat tried to call the bluff, and it failed. I think he said, like we saw the reports coming, like, hey, show me the offer, show me what you have, and then lo and behold, the Blazers had the three-way trade with the Bucks and the Suns, and now Dame is like, hey, we're not going to send you to Miami. In fact, fuck Miami. We're going to send you to probably their biggest competitor in the Eastern Conference. And now we're going to see Giannis and Dame on the same court along with Chris Middleton, and that's going to be absolutely lethal. Probably the clear favorites to win the East now, with probably Boston right behind them and then Miami right after that. But yeah, it was.
Does anyone care about
that?
Yeah, if that. So it's
Does anyone care about Drew Holiday? Are we trying to grab him? Is he gonna make a difference if we do?
I feel bad for that guy, man. The guy the day before he got traded talked about how I want to be in the Bucks for the rest of my career,
bro.
And how he loves what the Bucks are doing. He wants to be a Buck for life. And they trade his ass.
Yo, imagine though, like you make that mental decision, and like you talk to your wife, and you're like, all right, let's find like a nice school for our kids to go to. La la la. Let's buy a house instead of renting this place that we're in. La la la, and then traded. Yikes!
The cruel life of sports, man.
Mm-hmm. And I want him.
Is you want him? Okay,
I want him, but I know there's no way the Heat are making any kind of deal with Portland now.
Yeah, no, that's probably
Yeah,
they're
bro.
probably blacklisting each other at this point
Yeah,
now.
that's just dead in the water.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Also dead in the water are Inter Miami's hopes of grabbing a double. Well, I guess maybe not
Segue.
totally out of the water. I guess the hopes of grabbing a treble.
Treble.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So, uh, Callie, how you feeling, man, about this? About this? Not even whatever. U.S. Open Cup, we lost. We look terrible. We could talk about that if y'all want to, but I'm kind of more interested in the other news regarding Inter Miami. I guess also dead in the water are some of the supporters' hopes for grabbing or renewing next season's tickets for the season ticket holders. Callie, John Brown, go ahead and burn
Man,
burn
you're gonna
everything
get me
down, sir.
arrested. You're gonna get me thrown into prison.
Nah, never that, bro, never that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to soften the blow, I guess just to touch on the game, like Messi's hurt clearly. It looks like he's not even gonna play this Saturday. Alba's hurt. It looks like a more significant injury than what Messi has, and losing those two guys, it's massive. It's tough to make up for, and what people, I guess, especially people who are watching probably Inter Miami for the first time, you take out those two guys plus Busquets out of the lineup, and you have the same old Inter Miami team that was, dead last in the Eastern Conference for a good stretch, and it's what happened is kind of, I think, once we saw that Messi wasn't playing, I think we all kind of expected that would be the case, right? Like, I don't think anyone was too surprised. I think I was more surprised just how flat we kind of looked in a cup final. But major props to Houston. They played really well. They came ready to go. Their supporters showed up. Happy for them. Houston is a dope soccer town. They have an awesome culture in the city. If you haven't seen their profile on the MLS Pass, strongly recommend it. Strong black culture, proud black culture. They very much embrace it there, so that's dope. But the aftermath of all that is upsetting. It's let me prepare myself here. When I first heard about this, like, I started kind of writing thoughts down on a Google Doc, and I decided I'm not going to read from it, just because it's not worth. I think it's more important that we just kind of speak from the heart on this issue, and
Yeah.
And really talk about our experience as fans of the club, as supporters of the club. So for those of you that don't know, maybe you're hearing this for the first time, though, I'd imagine that it's gone around, because I've seen plenty of tweets going around about it. Not to pat myself on the back, but a tweet I made about it has 60,000 views currently. So, whatever. Elon, pay up.
Bro, pat yourself on the back, bro.
Pat that bag, man.
So just to put things in context, all three of us, sitting here that you're listening to right now, we all have supporter section tickets, right? So the tickets for this year were a touch over $400, I believe, for, after you include everything. I think it came out like $440 for everything, which is pretty reasonable considering the amount of games you get. Plus, you get you get first dibs on like Cub tickets and stuff like that, and a small very few benefits, but some benefits. And then our very special season ticket holder gift was a cardboard box with a lanyard in it with a plastic name tag attached to it. But those tickets were about $440 last year. For the 2024 member renewal, the cheapest tickets available are now, where we would sit, is $884. And this is just the renewal price. That is a 100% increase on tickets. Just going down the line, if you wanted to sit in the East Stand, which is probably the more affordable between East and West, last year, those tickets were, let's see, $745. They're up to $1,400 now. And I can keep on. There's a package for $45,000 tickets if you want to sit in the loge seats.
What?
That's nuts. That is
Forty-five
nuts,
Oh my
bro.
gosh.
thousand dollars to watch 17 home games and maybe two cup games. Um,
And maybe Messi.
and maybe
Like
Messi,
maybe Messi,
and maybe
right?
Messi.
Like,
Now,
yeah, this is
something
nuts.
when I saw this, and I this obviously created a bunch of discourse, right? Like Miami fans were very much popping off. Some understood the increase, others, and definitely the majority were frustrated with it. And it was like, oh, this is the price to see Messi, you know. So I did a little bit of research. So the most expensive ticket for the club that you can almost see it right here. The club that really has my heart and soul. For
Nah, we
Liverpool,
can't see it, bro, but it's okay.
the club that really has my heart and soul, Liverpool FC. The most expensive season ticket they have is €886. They did the math; it comes out to a touch over $1,000. The most expensive for a Premier League club, a big Premier League club, one of the biggest brands in the world. The most expensive ticket for Barcelona, €850, which comes out to just under $900 American. The most expensive ticket for Real Madrid is €1,800, which comes out to around 1,900 American. But their cheapest ticket is €225 to watch Real Madrid, probably the biggest soccer brand on the planet, arguably the most recognizable sports brand on the planet, in one of the most historic stadiums on the planet. Um, yeah, their cheapest ticket is $225. The cheapest ticket for Inter Miami at a renewal price, this is not for a new membership, is $884. Now, what gets me the most is that, man, I remember going to games where there were maybe 150 people in the north stand. The edges were completely empty. La Familia would just tighten in and pack in like sardines right in the middle. And we were the culture, right? We'd be there banging on the drums, jumping up and down, dousing each other in beer, and the few times that we got to see our team score every now and again. And we had to see the likes of Ben Sweat and Mikey Ambrose and Juan Agudelo running around playing for this club, right? Whereas, we still showed up. We were there every single game. And we were tailgating, there'd be maybe on a good day, 20, 25 of us, in the green lot or in that lot across the street. Maybe on a good day, 20, 25. Now, even before Messi, this season, us who have been going to the games since the get-go, we'd have probably 100 to 150 people, all celebrating. And when the players would walk out, we'd line up on the sides, we'd cheer them on, we'd dab them up, wish them luck. And then after the games, we'd be there waiting for them, and they'd come back, and we'd, get pictures, autographs, conversations, the whole nine. It really felt like our club for a long time. And I know that I'm not alone, that when it was announced that Messi was coming, that excitement was met with a bit of anxiety, right? Because it's like, man, we're going to get to see Messi. But there was always this lingering feeling that we were going to get priced out. And I remember the ownership saying there will be a modest increase. We want to take care of the day ones. We want to take care of our loyal supporters who have been here since day one. And what this tells me now is that those were empty, hollow words. I am personally disgusted with the club, to the point that I don't know if I can continue supporting this club, if I'm being completely honest. Because I and many others, times are tough, man. I'm a teacher in the state of Florida. I don't make a whole lot of money. It was already a sacrifice to pay $400 a year and justify that to my wife and to my daughter. That, like, hey man, I'm gonna be gone 17 times a year for basically the entire day, and we're gonna spend this money, and then we'll figure out a way to make it up and all that stuff. But this is something else for me. This is something that I needed, like, to the point that we couldn't afford to get my wife a ticket. So as soon as I got that email, I emailed my rep and said, I can't do this. And I tried to think about it, like, oh, I'll just watch from home, I'll watch from my TV, I'll go to a game every now and again. But the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. And the more I thought about it, the more disgusted I really became with the club, that they chose corporatism over their fans. They chose money over their fans. I understand this is a capitalist society, that at the end of the day, that the saying goes, if there isn't an empty seat in the house, you left money on the table. And the owners took that to heart, and they'd rather have less of us, and more of the people willing to pay to see Messi. And it hurts. It does. It hurts. I'm upset. I had a ticket. I have my 3 tickets for the 3 games, the 3 home games left, and I've sold 2 of them, and I gave another one to a friend, and I can't bring myself to continue going and supporting that. And someone says, oh, but just come for the people, or come for this, or come for that, and it's like I can't justify in my heart and in my mind supporting that. And I've heard a lot of people justify it and try and line it up with, like, oh, but this is more in line with NBA and NFL prices, which doesn't make any sense to me, because the NBA and the NFL are the best leagues in the world at what they do. At the end of the day, this is MLS. This is maybe the 4th biggest sport in the United States, behind the 4th biggest league in the States, behind NFL and NBA, obviously, and then you can kind of interchange depending on the time of the year: college football, Major League Baseball, NHL, and then MLS kind of wedges itself in there. And also, you're gonna look me dead in the eye and say I need to be paying more to watch this club than I can to watch Liverpool, to watch Manchester United, to watch Manchester City, to watch Arsenal, to watch PSG, to watch Inter Milan, to watch Juventus, to watch Bayern Munich, to watch Real Madrid, Barcelona. You're telling me it costs more money to watch an MLS club than this? Than any of those clubs? That doesn't hold water for me. And with a lot of things, if you sit idly by and do nothing, you give the club permission to do that. And I understand I'm one man, and I've learned that I'm just a seat number. I'm just a season ticket holder, and I'm replaceable. But the most upsetting part is that I am replaceable to them. I am indisposable as a person. I am disposable as a consumer. I am disposable as a fan. The decisions that the club has made has told me that they do not value me, that they do not value the working class people in this community who just want to go watch their club in their community. What this club tells me is that they'd rather cater to the celebrity culture. They'd rather cater to the corporatism of this, and they want people in suits sitting in the West End watching this game, instead of people from Miami who love Miami, who were here supporting this club from its inception. They care more about that than us. And quite frankly, it's everything that is wrong with football, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Because I can guarantee you that if any club in Europe or South America or Central America, Southeast Asia, if they raise their ticket prices 100%, stadiums would burn to the fucking ground.
Riots, bro.
There'd be
Riots.
there would be straight up riots, but this is the ugly truth of the game now, unfortunately. It's no longer a game for the community. It's not no longer a game for the working class. It's no longer an escape for the average household in Miami. This is now a venue specifically for the elites. This is now an event that rich people can go to on a Saturday night before they go to the clubs or they go to their expensive restaurants and stuff like that. And I no longer feel represented by the club that I was supporting for the last 4 years. I no longer see myself in the club, which is why I am making the personal choice. And everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Um, Everyone's entitled to their own decision making, but I am making the personal choice that I can no longer support this club the way it is right now. And it's to the point that even if they send out tweets tomorrow and emails like, "Hey guys, our bad, my bad. Well, we messed up. We this was clearly out of line. Well, this was too much." I don't think there's redemption in this story for me. And I know based on conversations I've had that many people feel the same way, and many people are in the same light. A lot of people are justifying the actions of the club, and they're saying, "Oh, I love this club, so I'm going to continue to pay this money." And there, in that essence, kind of lies the problem, because when you give them licensure to do that, there's no coming back from that. And that's the problem with this, is like once you raise the prices, there's no going back. And I'll end it with this because I know I've been ranting a bit. Um, this club and the decisions they are making now, the decisions they've made this week, is going to be a very interesting case study for what happens post Messi. Because I promise you, unless you find a way to get an Erling Haaland or Kylian Mbappe in here, there's no one that you're going to bring in that moves the needle like Lionel Messi. So if they cannot recuperate that star power, if they cannot recuperate someone that has a gravitational pull of Messi, I don't know how the club justifies the prices, and I don't know how people justify paying those prices. You tell me year one in a stadium, 2024 was year one in the stadium, I'd be like, I still don't agree, but I get it. But you're telling me we're gonna still watch it in a temporary stadium, and that's not in Miami, and to me, there's no justification for the price. There is none. There's nothing anyone can tell me that tells me that this is okay. And people are saying like, "Oh, this is in line with what a lot of the league pays," and I don't think that makes it okay. I think it goes to show you why soccer doesn't bloom in the U.S. like it does in other countries. It's because it's specifically targeted to wealthier people. It's not targeted towards communities and the working class. So that's my rant.
Nah, bro. I mean, shout out to John Brown. All day, always ready to burn it down, start a revolution. We'll always be behind him, always. But nah, bro. I mean, I think like to kind of go back to how you started, right? Like a single ticket in the supporter section per game, right? If you had season tickets, came up to about like $21, $22. Now it's $50, $52, right, bro? So it's like literally, I mean, to your point, it's literally double, right? And so, I think what resonated with me most is when you said you don't see yourself in the club anymore, right? And it's, I think as members of Black Herons, that in a way we kind of always felt that, right? We kind of always felt that.
Yes.
The club really wasn't representing us, right, in terms of like, Black culture, Black history, right, Black neighborhoods, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we could go to the tailgates, right, and we could see our people, right? We could see not only Black people, but we can see working class people. We can see working class communities. We can see supporters who are spending their last dollar, right, on this club. And now, right, to Callie's point, who knows what that's going to look like next year, right? What is the supporter culture going to look like next year? Is it going to be the same working class, hardworking, people that make up Siege, that make up Black Herons, that make up Vice City and Southern Legion, right? Or is it going to be a new, corporate class, business class, wealthy class, where the club is literally pricing out the majority of its day one fans, right? And I think that's what's most disrespectful about this whole thing, right? Is that you are pricing out your day ones. You're doubling the price on season ticket holders, right? Like not even for new season ticket like members that want to sign up. It's people that have been with y'all. Like, all right, we're gonna double these prices, right? So it's complete disrespect. And obviously, this is gonna have major implications in terms of representation, right? In the fan base, right? And this is why Black Herons exists, right? And we're all talking about whether or not we should renew, or whether or not we should not renew. And part of what allows Black Herons to be present, at least, right, is the fact that we have a lot of season ticket members, right? Like a lot of season ticket holders. So it's scary times, right, for Inter Miami supporters. It's scary times for kind of again, this like working class core that has made up the fan base for such a long time. Hopefully the club responds. Who knows if they will? Um, yeah, I mean, I think at this point right now, I'm obviously, because I have two season tickets, so I'm obviously gonna get rid of one for sure. And the question is whether or not I want to renew it for one, or whether I want to just cancel altogether. So there's a lot to think about. I think there's a lot to talk about in terms of, again, Black Herons, and like what this looks like for Black Herons moving forward. And so it's scary times. It's very shaky times, and it's kind of unfortunate that this is happening with the arrival of Messi, right? And quite frankly, because of the arrival of Messi, right? Like, this is right. It's not Messi's fault, obviously, but this is what this is what capitalism looks like, I guess. When this happens. So, AD, you wanna add anything before we move on to the Dream Team?
I'm good. You guys said most of it. I just want to reiterate what you said, where the main thing that you don't do, like as a sports organization, as a member of a community, anything, you don't step out on your day ones. You don't do the day ones dirty, and
Yeah, man.
to not even like have a we're looking out for you price for the people. It doesn't even have to be like the season ticket holders who just got their season tickets last year or this season, like I did or whatever. But the ones who have been season ticket holders from day one, you could have been like, we got y'all. We're gonna keep the prices nice for you. But no, they are trying to get maximum value for every ticket, and it's disgusting to see.
Bro,
Um,
it is disgusting,
and
bro.
I think everyone kind of expected some sort of increase, right? Like, I'm not an idiot. Like, I expected prices to go up a little bit,
Right.
but I don't think it
Sure.
was crazy to ask for, like, at least my thought was I was a 20 to 30% increase, which I would have been okay with. I understand that there's a messy price, and that's fine. At least for season ticket holders, run it up on new season ticket holders. That's fine. They're not grandfathered into this. We've been here. We were here when you guys fucking sucked.
Exactly.
We sat here through
That's it.
fucking Diego
That's it.
We
Alonso and
sat
Phil
through
Neville and a bunch of these fucking bums, Blaise Matuidi and all these guys
full
that kind of
trap with the
came through,
armband.
Bums.
and we sat here and we tolerated it, and we've been at every fucking game, and then to turn around and do this to us it's a slap in the face, man. And again, I tried to do the math, I tried to justify it in my brain, but just again, the more I thought about it, the angrier I got, and I'm still angry about it. So I know plenty of people are renewing it. I
Yeah,
know a
man.
lot of people are not renewing it. And again, it's going to change the entire dynamic of the supporter section on game day. It's going to be very corporatized, unfortunately.
Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Of course. Yeah. So that's what's happening over on our side of the woods. Unfortunately. And again, like, yeah, so we're just going through it, right? We lost the final. We're losing season ticket members. There's a lot going on. However, one thing that is consistent is the dream team, right? We still got black players in MLS balling out, doing their thing, constantly scoring, contributing to their team's success. So we're for this episode, we're gonna cover match day. I believe it's 34, match day 34, which happened this past Saturday and Sunday. So let's kick it off with the Eastern Conference, and then we'll end with the Western Conference, and then we'll get into our footnote segment.
So for the Eastern Conference, we know we took up a bunch of your time, so I'll try my best not to rant too much on these. Our first member of the Dream Team in the Eastern Conference is Atlanta United's very own Zandy Silva, Portuguese native, scored one against Montreal. Kind of definitely a bit of a journeyman. Interesting situation. He's on loan from Dijon at the moment. He's played at Nottingham Forest, played at West Ham. 2 goals in seven appearances so far. Yeah, definitely an early candidate for best gritty in the league. I don't know if y'all saw him hit that. It was clean. It was definitely clean.
It's the hips, bro. He put so much hip action into the gritty, bro. I'm sorry, Ari, we love you, bro, but Zani might have that one, bro.
Yeah, it was impressive. Keeping it to Atlanta United, Edwin Mosquera. All right, had a banger against Montreal. 2nd and 9 matches. Atlanta pummeled Montreal that game 4-1. Another newer member to Atlanta. He was on loan with Defensa y Justicia, and yeah, he's come in and he's been carving it up pretty much since he's gotten here. He's again, Atlanta's kind of seeing a bit of a resurgence from Atlanta's gone through it the last year and a half or so, but Atlanta's a fun team to watch. They gave us a hard one a couple weeks ago, and in all this, something that I think we need to discuss. We've discussed this on here. We've discussed this on with FTC and then the 2 Cents community. We had the revelation of J. Cole Palmer, right? We had the revelation of Emile Smith Rowe. All right, is there a case for the Greek freak in Atlanta, Giacomakis, to be black? Is he?
Listen?
Is he enhanced with melanin? Because I mean, I don't know if maybe he is, but there was definitely some imperialism in the bloodline and colonization in the bloodline that I think kind of made his way through there, man.
We got to put him on Soul Watch.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Bruh, another melanation delegation revelation, bruh. I mean, that is something to look into, bruh. Like, every time I look at him, I'm like, bro, there's something there. But then there are pictures where he looks white. Like, he looks, bro, he has facial features. Like, even like, I'm like, all right, there's definitely melanin there, right? Whether it's like black or maybe there's something there. It's like Eastern European. There's something that's not strictly like Western European, Greek. You know, it's just there's something there. And I mean, maybe that's just Greek. I don't know. Maybe just Greek just has a little color in them, and I don't know.
I don't know, man.
He looks like he has something in him.
Maybe like, you know, Grecian or Roman Empire bloodlines kind of got mixed. You know, there's definitely some. To me, there's some, and I'm say this is a history major that studies people and stuff. You know, there's definitely some Northern Africa in there, I think, a little bit. But you know,
that's a good point, bro. That's a good point.
We know how the colonization in Europe has gone.
Yeah.
You know, but let's see.
Facts.
Moving on. Man who has a soft spot in my heart, former Liverpool player, and a current killer of Inter Miami, Christian Benteke of DC United, had a hattie against New York Red Bull, but they still lost 3-5 because DC United is an absolute enigma of a club. His 13th on the season, tied for top of the league in scoring. Had a header come off a corner in the first, had a scramble in front of goal and found a way to get it in on the second, and finished a PK. They gave it to him for the third to round out the hattie. I always have a soft spot in my heart for my boy Benteke. Much better known for his time at Crystal Palace, but definitely a Liverpool guy. I will never forget that. Moving on, we only have a couple more. Aaron Bupenza of Cincinnati had a goal against Charlotte. Won 3-0 thanks to Bupenza, who scored his 4th goal in 7 matches. Dude is absolutely banging them in. Made a great run, a very positive, progressive run into the box, found space between the defenders, and connected on a low cross from U.S. national team's Shaq Moore. And Bupenza has an interesting history, man. He's Gabonese. He's played all over the map. He's played at Bordeaux. Went on loan to Pau, Gazalek Ajaccio, Tours, Firenze, and then he played in Turkey for Hatayspor. Then he played in Saudi Arabia for Al Arabi and Al Shabab, and he's a very new member of FC Cincinnati. 7 appearances, 7 league appearances, 4 goals. Dude is impressive. And he's been all over the map too, so he's that's one to watch. I think he's a guy that can definitely make a big splash. Cincinnati signed him as a designated player too. Moving on, Teal Bunbury, who has a cool story on his own, scored against San Jose Earthquakes in a 1-1 draw. His 3rd goal in the season, made a nice run into. Oh, I read off of Bunbury. Look at me, I'm a disaster. But anyway, Bunbury, interesting background. His dad is Alex Bunbury, who played for West Ham, played for the Kansas City Wizards also. Coached he was an assistant coach and played for the Canadian national team. So definitely a really cool bloodline there. And finally, rounding out the Eastern Conference, Andres Perea scored against Toronto, helping them win 3-0. He's on loan from Philadelphia, so crossing some enemy lines there. First ever goal for NYC FC this season, and he had a goal with Philly earlier in the season. Late transfer, and on his goal, headed it in home from a lovely floating cross into the box. And sweet little Selly, man, hit us with I don't know if it was salsa or cumbia, but dude's got the sweet feet, man.
Yeah, it looked nice, bro. I mean, bro, these celebrations are nice, bro. And yeah, I need to get my Latin American indigenous dance game up, because you got cumbia, you got salsa, you got samba, you just got so much, bro. I need to figure out
I'll say
where it all lands. But
where MLS lacks in talent across the board. I'm saying top to bottom, where they lack in talent from top to bottom, because it's not one of the better leagues in the world. Our Selly game is top notch, man. I'll put our Selly game with anybody on the planet.
A tier, S tier.
Yes.
That
rounds out the Eastern Conference for the Dream Team, by the way. So,
all right, bet.
So going to the Western Conference, West Side, if you will, we're going to start off with the Dallas versus Columbus Crew match, where Jader Obrian scored a goal against the Crew, but that match ended 1-1 in a draw, keeping them, giving them a point, and keeping them one spot above Sporting Kansas City for that last playoff spot. It was Obrian's 4th goal of the season, he's got 2 goals and 1 assist in the last 3 match days. So he's starting to get on at the end of the season, but he's not matching just quite the goal total that he had in 2021, when he had 9 goals. But he caught a really good header from Jesus Ferreira with a cross into the box. And our guy Nkosi from Dallas had an own goal, which is how Columbus got their goal, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to skip on to Jambulo Blom from St. Louis, the Cinderella story expansion team, first in the Western Conference. Wild to see them. But Jambulo Blom is the first of three Dream Team debutants. We got three in here today. And St. Louis won the match 2-1 against Minnesota. Blom is from South Africa, and he scored an absolute beauty from 20 yards out, which was a curler into the upper left corner. And he got an assist from our guy, Aziel Jackson, most beautiful hair in the league. So, I mean, we just had to shout him out, you know. Third Dream Team Western Conference player is William Agata from Sporting Kansas City, our second Dream Team debutant. So welcome him, give him his little flowers. This is his second goal of the season, and he helped Sporting Kansas City beat Houston 2-1. The Nigerian footballer found the ball after a scramble in front of the goal. Always love a good guy to get the scramble off the dribble from the keeper. But shout out to Sporting Kansas City, who was down a man at the time and still found a way to score. Our fourth Dream Team entrant is Teenage Lingani Hadebe, who we got to give a shout out to. Best name in the league, Teenage. I love it. I don't know. As Jermaine said, it brings a whole new meaning. It's perfect. Brings a whole new meaning to shout out to the youth there. He's our last Dream Team debutant, and he helped Houston get on the board against Sporting Kansas City in their 2-1 loss. The goal that he put in was right before halftime, and it seemed to give them. It seemed to look like the momentum they needed to get back in the game, but both teams ended up not scoring in the second half of the game, and it ended 2-1. Hector Herrera had a cross, and Hadebe was in the right place at the right time to finish the ball. And the last entrant into Dream Team is Santiago Moreno from Portland, who scored against Colorado in their 3-2 win against the Rapids. This is his second goal of the season, and both of these goals are coming off his last 6 matches. So he's hitting his stride, maybe at the right time. This goal started with like 6 step overs from Anthony. A shout out to Brazilian players who only go with their first name. He had a goal for Portland earlier in the game, and he found Moreno, who created a really good give and go with the German Noel Kaliskan. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but Moreno got the ball back and just slotted it past the keeper to make it 2-0. And he is the end of the Dream Team.
Yes. So big shout out to all the Dream Team members. 2 interesting notes about the Dream Team. One is that a lot of the transfer windows players that were coming in like at the end of the transfer windows, like we saw some in Atlanta, they're making contributions, right? A lot of these black players that are being picked up at the end of the transfer window. I think it was in August, maybe like beginning of middle of August. They're contributing, right? They're scoring goals. They're allowing their team to make a push into the playoffs at the end of the season. So shout out to them. And also shout out to the Dream Team debutants. Also their first MLS goals. We had a few of them, particularly in the Western Conference. So we definitely want to always spotlight all of the black players that are contributing to their teams and scoring goals and and showing that greatness lies in the diaspora, right? And so it's just a matter of recruiting these players, getting them into the league so they can ball out and show their greatness. So we started. So thank you, AD and Callie, for recapping Matchday 34's Dream Team. So we started the episode talking, unfortunately, about the woes of Inter Miami. Of course, they played in the U.S. Open Cup final. An interesting fun fact: the head referee, the center referee for the match, is a brother by the name of John Freeman. Now, I'm not sure if this is like the first black center ref for a U.S. Open Cup final. I can imagine there's not many, but he was. And so we definitely want to give a big shout out to John Freeman. And anytime, I don't know if it's just me, anytime I see a black man, or a black person rather, with the last name Freeman, I'm always intrigued. I'm always intrigued with that history.
Like, you know what?
Let me know all of that history. You know what I'm saying? So definitely shout out to John Freeman for that. And speaking of referees, so we kind of wanted to sprinkle a little bit of referee love this episode. We definitely have to give a big shout out to Natalie Simon, who on match day 32, which was I believe September 16th or the weekend of September 16th, became the first black woman to referee an MLS match against San Jose in Real Salt Lake. So definitely shout out to Natalie Simon. Prior to this, Simon also became the first black woman to earn a FIFA badge, which makes her eligible to officiate international matches, international tournaments, and what have you. And she's only one of 4 American women to do so. Actually, I think now it's one of 5 American women to do so, and we'll get to that 5th person soon. So quickly, Natalie Simon was born in Louisiana, but she went to high school in Fort Lauderdale. So big shout out to the crib, and played collegiately at Stetson up in Orlando. In this, I believe it's a Los Angeles Times article. Los Angeles Times article. She talks about how she did her family research and learned that she was indeed descendants of enslaved Africans, right? That came to this country, and I think one of her great grandmothers is part Choctaw, so she's part Native American. So she has a very interesting family history, and she carries that with her in her career and on the pitch. She's very outspoken, about what her representation on the field means for the future, of course, of African American girls and women. So we definitely want to give a big shout out to Natalie Simon. Also, that game that she officiated, big shout out to Jeremy Ebobisse, who came through with his 9th goal of the season. And Natalie Simon is not the only black woman to earn her FIFA badge. We definitely got to give a big shout out to Alyssa Nichols, who earlier this year in 2023 became the second and youngest black woman to earn her FIFA badge. She's only 27, so she's just getting started, and she should have a fantastic career in the game. A native of Mississippi, so we have a native of Louisiana and a native of Mississippi, right? These are, deep South, rich black cultural histories that we're talking about here. So she's a native of Mississippi. She went to Jackson State University, right? So shout out to Coach Prime. And she's a Delta, right? So she is like blackety black. Okay. So shout out to Alyssa Nichols for her accomplishments. And again, John Freeman, as we mentioned, officiating that Open Cup final. So, as we go on with the podcast, we don't only want to give a shout out to our goal scorers. We want to give a shout out to our goalkeepers, right? Our defenders, right? And of course, now we want to highlight our referees, which, maybe a future episode, we should talk about how many black referees there are in MLS. I think there's only like 2 or 3, maybe. So that could be a whole episode in itself. But definitely again, shout out to Natalie Simon doing her thing finally MLS has a black woman refereeing their games, right? And so I think she's had, not I think, but she's had some experience in NWSL, also USL Championship. Alyssa Nichols, I believe, also has had some experience in USL Championship and NWSL. She has yet to make it in MLS, but hopefully that's the next step. Um, so yeah, that's our footnote segment. Um, a lot to kind of digest this episode. Callie kind of gave us, a lot to think about in terms of burning down capitalism and and what that looks like in these South Florida streets. So definitely stay tuned to what we're talking about, to what's going on with Inter Miami, because it's probably going to start happening to your club, right? I think Messi isn't just going to have an effect on Inter Miami; he's going to have an effect on MLS, right? So these things might start, these increases might start happening in your club, but hopefully, if you have some strong supporter culture, as we do as we do at Inter Miami, I think we will start to see some movements, I think, by the club. I think the club might respond. Maybe I'm just being too optimistic. I hope that they will respond, and respond accordingly. So, because again, these have serious implications, right? Not just for everyday fans, but for organizations like Black Herons, right? Like Black Fires in Chicago and elsewhere. So, stay tuned with all the happenings there. We're going to continue to update our dream team as we go along. Thank y'all for being patient with us. We had to take a little time off and adjust to our, in the case of me and Callie, adjust to our daughter's sleep regression issues, because that's been a struggle. So definitely thank you again for being patient with us, and stay tuned, because we will continue to drop some more content. So with that, Callie, AD, anything before we sign off?
Yeah, I think now more than ever, and this goes beyond just Inter Miami. I think this goes league wide. It's so important that groups like Black Herons exist, like Black Comets in LA, the Black Fire in Chicago, Rose Room Collective, Footy Mob. I'm doing my best not to miss any, but those are who I'm thinking of at the top of my head. It's so important that these groups exist, because at the end of the day, we're the ones fighting for the little guy. We're the ones fighting for the average person, and in groups where people, and I say this from, and I've mentioned it on here before, I say this from a point of privilege, because I can that's something I can always fall back into. I can always fall back into my privilege, and I try my best to remain uncomfortable when it comes to these issues, and to put myself out there. Sometimes I do well at it, sometimes I don't, I'm sure, but I think it's so important to listen to Black voices, to brown voices, to voices in the LGBTQIA plus community, and stand up and fight, because if things like this go unchecked, it just continues to happen, and it gets worse for future fans. And eventually everyone will be priced out. No one's going to be safe. Eventually someone with more money than you is going to come along and want your ticket. And by allowing clubs to do things like this, we give them that agency to do that. So keep fighting. Don't back down. Don't settle for high prices because you just want to watch your team play soccer. Keep fighting. Lean into those communities. Lean into those groups, and solidarity. We got this. We'll figure it out. And hopefully we leave something better for those who come after us. So
Facts. Well said. Well said. AD, any final words?
I got nothing, but I probably want to say to the club, just I hope you guys just reconsider this doubling the prices situation, and think about the communities that you're affecting, the culture that these communities that you're pricing out is affecting. So I'm just saying, if anything, Do it for the culture.
Do it for the culture. Inter Miami, please. But then again, we know that they haven't done much for the culture in the past. So, anyways,
Yeah.
Inter Miami, please listen to AD. Do it for the
That's why we
culture,
exist.
damn it, please. Right, exactly. That's why we exist, right? So, all right. Having said that, we are signing off, and we will catch y'all next time. Peace.
Later.
Too bomb black for them.